Right. Yes.
All right, 6:30, I'll open this meeting. Chairman's comments, I have nothing. George?
No.
Bill? Nope. Public comments. Go ahead, Cam.
Good evening. Isn't this wonderful? Temple's a winter wonderland at this time of year. It's just grand. I remember being here as a child. We had snow like this a lot, and coming up, it was really great. I apologize for not being on the agenda. Things were happening kind of quickly in the last few days. You know, we had this. Everybody's noticed the storm. Anyway, yesterday morning, I had to get up really early to clean out around my generators because they have breathing vents. So that's about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I noticed this, you know, probably knee-high snow in the road driveway. But, you know, we only have a small crew working on the road. I appreciate that. And we're not Colburn Road. We aren't the first people to get plowed. So I went back in the house and did a few things. And but by 10, I thought, you know, it's kind of odd. You're not getting plowed. So I looked, and the lower part had been plowed. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details, but there was a discussion about the top quarter of Perkins Lane about whether it's a public way or my private driveway. And anyway, I didn't know what the story was at that time. So I called Chairman Case, who didn't answer the phone and didn't call my voicemail back. But I called Mr. Ezell, and he kindly answered the phone. And I said, you know, what's with the driveway? And he said, well, your lawyer was meant to tell you. And apparently the lawyer was meant to tell me that their lawyer had decided it was a private drive and they weren't going to plow it. And, you know, am I meant to call the lawyer when I need an ambulance? Anyway, I just thought it was kind of mean. I've been here a long, long time. And I'm in the geezer role, you know. I'm up at the top of the hill, and I've got 2 tenants, and then there's a house partway down, and another house. So it's 5 houses, 5 dwellings, and 3 or 4 people all the time. And I just thought it was funny when there's more notice about this storm than I can imagine. But no one had the decency just to call me or get Bill McDonald to call me. He's the emergency person. You don't want to talk to me? Get him to call me. Anyway, finally, I managed to find someone who plowed the top part of the driveway. Did a nice job. We talked about that. And today, of course, there was a little more snow. So he was going to plow at 8, but he called from Foster Road, which is a connecting road, and said it had been plowed, but Perkins hadn't been. And I said, fine, you know, come back later. So around 10:30, one of my tenants drove down. He's got a 4-wheel drive truck. And he said, well, he said, Foster's plowed, but Perkins isn't, but it's not a big deal. So I called the plow guy, and he came up, and he plowed the top quarter. And I was talking to him, and he said, well, he said, and the rest of the road, he said that he ran into our road agent and asked him about when he was going to do Perkins Drive. And the road agent said, well, you know, why don't you do it? It would be a lot easier. And unfortunately, he didn't, because I don't want to plow all of it. And, you know, one of the things that's going on in this private drive thing is a serious concern, I get it, that the town is not meant to do any work on private property. I understand that for liability reasons. But, you know, a guy who's got a private plow probably shouldn't do any work on public property either. I think the liability might even be greater. So all I'm asking is that as we go through this lovely winter, maybe someone could plow the bottom 3/4 of Perkins Lane, and I'll figure out the top. And I guess their lawyers have determined that it's a private drive, but really only superior courts make that decision. So we'll see where it goes. And incidentally, I'm trying to sell the place. Not having a road access kind of dims that possibility a bit. And I've got two tenants, and I need to look after their interests. And you always hope the damn fire department can get there, or whoever else you need. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just hope maybe it could be dealt with a little more kindly, a little more politely, a little more professionally. And, you know, I've been here since before I was born, for God's sakes. And I've never seen anything like this. So thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't get on the agenda. Good night.
Well, for whatever reason you didn't get notified, I apologize. I don't know if it was our side or your side, but you should have been notified for sure.
I was unaware of it also. I was asked and I was told, I told them actually to do it till we get this stuff straightened out, so.
Yeah. So what was supposed to have happened is our attorney was to notify her attorney. We have to go through the attorneys because she got one involved. And I don't know if our attorney didn't notify her attorney or her attorney didn't notify her. But the situation is, it is illegal. It's not just a bad idea. It is illegal by state law for us to plow on private property. And that's why we're at this point.
Yeah, so it makes it makes it a shitty situation for the board as well, because it's just not a fun place to be in. We don't want to be in this place. But we don't have a choice at this point. Legal's in it, and we have to do what legal tells us to do. Anybody else for public comment? Go ahead. Need a microphone?
Microphones. The battery light. Let me check the battery light.
They were both up all the way when I.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
If it's okay for you to give me her name, I'll be happy to call her tomorrow and plow her out a couple times till she can get something arranged. I'm not going to charge her anything. I just help out a neighbor. So I don't know if it's,
I think she's got someone.
she has someone now. Oh, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
That's what I was told.
You're up on the agenda next after public comment. Do you have anything to say about Hudson Road?
I do.
You still need a microphone. The problem is that people on the
I get it.
trying to watch can't hear you if you don't have the microphone.
That's fine. I'm sorry. I'm just not conscious of microphones well. Yeah, so I've prepared a statement and I asked my employee to write down his qualifications as well, and I'd like to read them into the record if that's okay. So personally from me, Jesus said, when you do good, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I live by this principle. However, it's clear that some people don't know who I am and what my moral standards are. So although it pains me, I wish to recount just some of the things I have done for my neighbors in this town in the last 3 months. I'm not recounting everything. I regularly help out a close-by neighbor who's raising 2 children alone. I, without ever informing another neighbor, since moving here, regularly clear their mailbox and the end of their driveway. They only learned it was me at the meeting this last month. I don't know their name. I never met them until last month. I just knew it was a house on my road and there was a need. I helped a neighbor on my road who was trying to unsuccessfully pull a family in a minivan out of a ditch. They had just moved to New Hampshire in the last 6 months and had not yet learned to drive in snow. We had to daisy chain my truck to his tractor to their family's minivan to get them out. I don't know the name of the neighbor. I only met them here last month at this meeting. After getting the family free, I said to them, "Welcome to New Hampshire. Don't worry about it. We all go off the road in our first winter." This last very big storm, my plow wiring failed halfway through plowing the first 6 inches. I could not fix it that night, although I tried. Before I could get it fixed the next day, I learned a neighbor had severely damaged his plow. He had a family. I do not. I felt his family should take priority over me. So he snowblowed a path so we could walk through in places 3 feet deep in my driveway so that I could get my industrial torches to his plow. We worked on his plow for about 2 hours so we could get it back on his truck. I called Luke Peterson, asked if I could use his welder as miner up in Hooksett on an antique restoration job I'm working on up there. When Luke learned I was refusing any money, he too refused any compensation. We drove to Luke's, removed the plow, welded it, reinstalled it. This took some time as Luke's wasn't yet plowed out completely, and there was a vehicle in his garage that we had to juggle. My truck was repaired by 4 o'clock. I was plowed out by 6. I did plow cleanup for the 2 neighbors I look after today. About a month ago, I learned there was a family on Webster Road who had lost the use of the heater in their house. You might remember at the beginning of January, we had a stretch of 2 to 8 degree nights. I found another neighbor who had a similar propane heater installed in a building that was not used. With the first neighbor helping me, we removed the good heater from the outbuilding, replaced the bad one in their home, tested for leaks. The whole operation took about a day. They had heat in late afternoon. I helped the person who donated the heater find a $3,000 beautiful stove for I think $400 on Facebook. We'll wait for spring before I help them install it. During this storm, I learned a neighbor had frozen pipes. We had to buy a torpedo heater, 15 gallons of diesel. I had to crawl under their deck to get to a crawl space to set it up, and ran it all night during that storm to keep them from bursting. That problem is now solved. I just learned of another neighbor who has had frozen pipes for 2 days now. I'll be helping them tomorrow. I don't know what we'll find, but I worry about burst pipes there. While paying my registration fees for the 5 or 6 vehicles I have registered in November, I noticed an old man in front of me who was flustered as he learned he couldn't use a debit or credit card. He left to go get a checkbook, but just seemed out of sorts. I paid the registration fees for him anonymously, asked the tax collector to tell him, "Welcome to Temple. You have neighbors who care for you." He gave the tax collector a card to forward to me. In part, it said he was 97 years old, used to live in Florida. His wife had just died after a horrific battle with cancer. His family and he agreed he could not care for himself at 97, and he should move to Temple to be with them. However, his small, also very old dog could not come with him. Because of the age of his dog, no shelter would take him, and no home could be found for him. So this poor man, who had just lost his loving wife, had to put down the only companion he had left. His heart was broken. Last month at this meeting, I was asked, why don't I buy a piece of land someplace else? I at the time said I wanted to stay in Temple. I'm making friends here. I'm regularly invited over to people's houses. Those people are learning who I am, what I believe, what my morals are, my life philosophy. The true happiness can only be achieved by helping your neighbors, even neighbors you don't know. I don't know my neighbors on Hudson Road, but that hasn't stopped me from doing all I can to help whenever I see a need. I don't know the name of the 97-year-old man. I don't know the name of the people who lost their heat. I don't pursue happiness. Living as I live, I'm just happy. I'm so sorry some people who don't know me and have never tried to get to know me are upset with me. Had I known they had concerns, I could have addressed them. Now that I do know, I can address them as soon as the weather permits. The only reason we're here now is because local people I trusted recommended a logger who I learned later had a drug problem. He ended up in prison and then in rehab. I lost 2 months getting my 40 by 80 structure up, like Mike Salisbury's at Temple Beef. The only difference being that mine will have an EPDM liner under it to protect the environment, something that is not required by the town. Thank God for Dave Foley, so I can get a very fast start in the spring. He got the work done, but not until it started snowing and I was too late to be able to put it up. As I said last month, once the ground is not frozen and we get back on schedule, the problem goes away by May 30th to June 30th. I get the feeling some people would like to chase me out of Temple. I could convert the land that I
Excuse me.
have to housing.
Excuse me. Is this a statement or a novel?
It's a statement.
Well,
I
you
have-
are well over your allotted time.
What's my allotted time?
5 minutes.
You're correct. I'm a minute over. Can I finish the last paragraph?
That's the last paragraph. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. I could convert the land to a housing development, and that could fund my dream farm and garage someplace else. But I would like to think I'm the type of neighbor everyone would like to have. Someone who cares about people, cares about the environment, and who is always looking for a way to help out neighbors, even neighbors I have never met and don't know their name, when I see a need.
If you'd like to give a copy of that to Carol, we can include it in, as an attachment to the minutes.
I'd like to also give a copy of my employee's statement. He's a soil scientist. That's his expertise. He's the first hire for the farm, the longest hire for the farm, and he's a full-time employee. His job is to make sure we take care of the environment properly. That's everything he's done in his career, and he's moved to work with us. So can I enter this? I can't read it because I'm out of time, but can I enter it into the record so you have a copy?
I can't say that you can because I don't know what it pertains to, because I think you've got things going sideways here. And we'll discuss this when we get there after public comment. But I want to finish public comment first before we go any farther with that. So let's finish public comment. Anybody else? Okay, so if there's no other public comment, update on complaint on Hudson Road. The board has gotten complaints from this gentleman for his amount of cars or other things that's on his property. I don't know what his farm has to do with it. And the complaint that the board is looking at is a junkyard where a junkyard is not supposed to be. So that's neither here nor there to the farm. I understand that things happen with logging your property and building your hoop houses and whatever else you're doing, but I don't know what that has to do with the junkyard portion of this.
The vehicles are inside the container.
You need to have microphone.
Yeah, why don't you just hold on to it for a while?
Once the vehicles are inside the structure, it's legal. Once the structure is up and the vehicles are inside, it's not a junkyard. It's never been intended to be a junkyard. These are vehicles for the farm and vehicles that I'm working on with my business. They're not for storing for parts. They're being used. 6 or 7 of them, or 5 or 6 of them are registered now. So there's more than that, but they'll all fit inside the structure with ease.
Yeah, registered ones we're not worried about. It's the
I understand.
amount of vehicles you have.
I understand, but they fit inside the structure fine. So we wouldn't be here if I didn't have the 2 months delay, because they'd be inside and this issue goes away. So this issue is going to go away between March 30th and June 30th. I'm sorry, May 30th and June 30th of next year,
But
because that structure will be up.
you understand that we got a complaint from several of your neighbors on Hudson Road.
I understand.
about the way the place looks. You have stuff on town property. I know you've moved most of everything off the road.
Correct.
There's still those cement tubes that are on town
Yeah,
property.
they're frozen there. I apologize. I couldn't get them
Yeah,
lifted with the
no,
crowd.
I get that part, but
But again, in the spring, I'll have them out of there.
there's nothing that we can do other than wait for the lawyers to do their things.
Okay.
unfortunately, that's the way it is. They have to notify you because we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, when we get to 4, if we didn't do 1 or 2, we have to go back to 1 and start again. And that's not why we pay town council all the money that we pay them every year.
I understand. I just say this problem goes away as soon as the structure is up.
And it would be great if that happens. I'm not saying anything against it. But just because you go and hide them doesn't mean we have a similar situation in town. And they chose to go the route of antique restoration. So yes, they have to have buildings, they have to have a place to store all this stuff. You still have to have a business that's legitimate with the town. So we have to know about all those things as well, which will come out as the
So
lawyers.
I'm registered with the state. Did I need to register with the town as well?
Well, if you need any kinds of exceptions or anything, yeah.
I don't.
Okay,
I don't need any exceptions.
all right, well, I mean, the lawyers, we can get there when the lawyers get there.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you about that,
Okay.
all right? I do commend you for helping everybody out. That's what we all do here.
I know that. That's why I moved here.
Yeah.
I moved here because of the volunteer spirit in this town. That's why I wanted to live here.
All right, anything else on Hudson Road issue? Any update? Yep,
Get the microphone.
microphone.
Hi. I have a question. Last time we were here, the letter was supposed to be served on a cease and desist to Nick until he could get all his paperwork he was supposed to give to Jay, but all the stuff that he had done with his lawyer. And you were supposed to have a cease and desist from our town lawyers. That was on December 9th was the meeting. Where is this letter?
As far as I know, they went on vacation as the end of the, Christmas holiday and stuff. And it's still in the works. I thought it was already out, but if it hasn't gone out, we should be going out very soon.
Yeah, one is already gone.
Christmas was a month ago.
There's,
Yeah, no, I get that, but I mean, town, you have to understand that we can only get so much from our lawyers at one time because right now we're in budget season. We're doing warrant articles. We're doing all kinds of other stuff that has time limits of March before town meeting. All that stuff has to be done. All that stuff has to go through DRA and the town lawyers.
So is there a timeline as to when this letter will be out?
we have no idea.
I don't know. I can find out. Tomorrow we can send a email off to them and find out where it is, but I don't know what to tell you other than that.
I would imagine it would be soon because we just have another letter that they just did release. So I
A
assume they're
bunch of
getting to
letters?
these things.
And will this letter be made public? Will it be given to the people who live on Hudson Road? How will we know this letter has been served, basically?
I am not sure. I'm sure it's going to be public information.
It is public record.
And you'd have to go
Is
down
public
and,
record.
you'd have to go down and request a copy of it. And I think we can get you a copy of it. I wouldn't promise you that, but I
Okay.
think that's what we can
Through
do, or at
Through
least
the-
after,
through the town office?
through the town office, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, and my other question I had was sort of a little bit to Nick. But he was supposed to supply graphs and all the stuff that he was planning on doing. To Jay, did you do that? Okay, well, you can get my husband home 99% of the time and you know where we live, so.
Same thing at
Well,
Dave's house next door.
Well, we live right next door to Dave's.
Again, we
Your
need a
husband is
microphone
right
going back and
behind
forth.
you. And you can more than stop in
Yep.
and give him a copy of all the stuff that you.
Even yesterday, so should have done.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't here at that meeting when you guys were first here.
It was in the back.
One meeting I missed in 12 years. So they went out back. As far as I know, I've asked for notes. I didn't really get anything. I got a few
Oh.
things. So I don't know what was discussed with you guys in between that, and it has nothing to do with what we have to do with our lawyers.
We'll
and-
get you copies of the notes.
Okay.
We'll get you that. So this was just a question that we had because Nick was supposed to supply everybody and he walks by my house every day with his dog, so.
Yeah,
If he could drop
and
them off.
and that's
my
fine. That's
husband, it'd
between
be
you
great.
guys, but that has nothing to do with us and the zoning
It's
violation.
not the door. My husband's home 90% of the time.
Those notes could be important if this
Yeah.
if this goes to litigation.
Yeah.
So don't lose them.
What we're talking about is basically the plot that's been registered with the town and with the county. That's what I'm giving them a copy of.
But again, we're only addressing the zoning violation at 106. So that's, I mean, the farm and the other stuff has nothing to do with anything that we're doing at this point. Yeah. All right, anything else on Hudson Road? Okay, we'll move on. Perkins Lane. I wish he stayed. I'm sure we could have worked out something here. But I have to read this motion, and we have to vote on this motion tonight to give the lawyers so that we can. And it's not like we told her we were never going to plow again. She needed to provide us with a right of way so that we can plow for her on her private property. So it's not like we're just throwing her out into the wind, and I don't know what happened the last storm. I know she called my phone. I've got things going on. I didn't call her back. She talked to Bill, but as far as I knew, we were going to take care of it until the lawyers told us no more. And this is how we're going to tell them no more.
Okay, yeah, so you did miss one thing. The lawyers said no more. They said immediately cease. So,
All right, so I move that we direct the road agent to cease all plowing of Perkins Lane beyond the property line of Camilla Lockwood's property, and to direct counsel to work with her attorney to attempt to secure a turnaround easement near the boundary line, as previously suggested by counsel, but rejected by Ms. Lockwood. If Ms. Lockwood continues to reject this easement offer, then council should attempt to work with the owners of the abutting properties to secure a turnaround easement so that the road agent is able to safely plow the public portion of the road and turn the equipment around without blocking Miss Lockwood's driveway with snow. That is my motion. Do I have a second?
second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? Any objections?
Nope.
Okay, Carol, if you can let the lawyers know that that was done. Anything else on Perkins?
Mm-mm.
Cordless microphones and fuel number 4 and 5 on our schedule. I'll have everything for those on February 10th, one way or another.
Okay.
New business number 6, Town Hall Advisory, Sandra Benotti. Sandra?
I have here some paperwork for you people.
We can pass them down.
One more for Carol.
That one done.
I am concerned, as is the rest of the committee, that the select board has chosen to go ahead without our input to look into acoustic tiles to be set up in this hall. The Town Hall Advisory Committee talked about this a couple of years ago and decided that we didn't want to do it. It was not appropriate to the historic nature of this hall. And now the select board has gone ahead without us even notifying us. And our job is to just kind of keep things going the right way here in the town hall. And the big issue is that you never even talked to us about it. We could have been, in fact, I emailed Ken at one point, said, let's just work together. And that hasn't happened. And I want to know why, and I want to know what can be done to alleviate this situation. And if an article is going to be put in the warrant, generally speaking, under each article, it says the selectmen approve or disapprove. And if they put, that article is put in there, I want it added that the town hall advisory committee totally disapproves.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, we can see if we can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can, because we can't, there's not enough room for everybody's comment from all the.
We can probably
different-
do it.
I did have a quick text with Sandra about this. I don't know if anybody here can hear it, but there is definitely an echo in this room. And it affects a lot of people, especially people with hearing aids, because it just reverberates all over. And even I have a hard time. I just have a ringing in my ears, but I have a hard time listening to people in this room at some point. So I just went ahead and had the time, and I was able to go ahead and call a few people to come in and give us their recommendations for this. We did get we actually got two quotes. I got one quote of a guy that actually came in with the sound panels and the edging that goes around them, and then the fabric that goes over them that you can pick. He's got like 50 different ones. That he said that doing these squares, the dark squares here, the dark squares here, the dark squares on this wall, and then one continuous one across that back wall there should do it. And he asked if it would be better for us if we hung something from our beautiful tin ceiling. And I said, there's no way anybody in town is going to let us hang anything from that beautiful tin ceiling. Because usually, I don't know if you've been into any places, but they do like a 40-degree hanging panel on those so you don't get the reverb from above too. So we went back and forth, me and Sandy, and of course we agreed to disagree on this thing. I think it's a huge thing. That's why I thought it would go to the warrant to go before the people, because I don't want to make the decision by myself, or the three of us don't want to make this decision by ourselves either. And we can fight about it and sit down and talk about it at town meeting. The other thing too is, I mean, it came down to is we've had this problem since we've had this whole speaker system in here, and we have to use this room all the time. And I asked, what are they doing? And I got no response at all. So I thought that if we put it on the town warrant, we could all sit down, have a discussion about it, and see if we wanted to do it or not, to make it easier for everybody to hear and understand things that are going on here. So that's where I'm at with this whole thing. I've been doing a lot of things since I've been messed up with my back. So it's hard to keep track of all these, but I figured it would be better to go before the townspeople versus us just going ahead and doing it, or putting it in the budget and hiding it from everybody. I didn't want to do that either. So that's where we're at. Anybody else have any comments on that? Ted?
Ted,
I appreciate
Ron?
what you're
Okay.
doing. You're trying to do what's right. But first of all, the ceiling, you had to be here when we were trying to fix it, get it. And the cost was astronomical. L-Chip was here. The world was here to make sure we did the right thing. As far as you're talking about these pianos, I mean, this place has been around for 250 years. And we've had meetings here. The first meeting I came to 54 years ago, I'm sitting back there and, the place is filled up. And they didn't speak any louder or less loud. It really shouldn't be put this stuff up here. Once you put it on a warrant article, people think that everybody's in agreement with the government, the committees are all approving of it, selectmen are approving of it. Did you vote to put it on? And
No, actually, we have not voted the warrants yet, have we?
We haven't voted the warrants yet. What we're gonna, approve and not approve. So that's why I wanted to put it on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but you understand everything that went into it.
Yeah. So I will say that a number of people have complained to me about the terrible echoes and acoustics in here, and I agree, actually. And the idea was these panels would be not obtrusive because they'd go right in the space that's already there. But we'll see.
They would only stick,
You have a drawing of it?
I don't, but I'll have a sample before town meeting. But it's a little 1-inch plastic border that goes in there. And then the insulation goes in, and then there's a piece of fabric that goes right over the whole thing, and it's nice and tight and flat, and it looks just pretty much the way it is, just an inch.
I mean, so much went into it with L-chip, and I just hope though that we let advise them that what we're doing, because I think they were always requesting that we give them the information of anything we do, so.
Yeah, but that was when we were obligated under the agreement. Right,
Yeah.
right. Right. So my personal comment on it, this is just me, I'm not speaking for the board, is that, I mean, this is very important to the town. We meet here all the time. And if people can't hear, that's a problem. And, you know, it's shouldn't be a museum. It should be a town building. That's my view of it.
I agree with you, Ted. It's not needed.
So see, the board is not unanimous on this.
My main issue is that you didn't include the committee that should be included on anything to do with this building. And that's a big issue. There's always a need for volunteers for town affairs and committees and all. And this riled up this committee enough we could have had a mass resignation, which perhaps you would be happy with. But that isn't the way it's set up. We're supposed to be able to help, but we need to be called on. It should not be done behind our backs. And that's what has happened. And I'm speaking largely on this issue for that. I'm not saying that maybe that isn't something that should happen, but it should include everyone involved.
Yeah, you're right.
And she is right. And,
Gave you a copy of the policy stating about this building. And it was adopted by the select board 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And I just want you to live by that policy.
and that's fine. I'll take the hit for that. But in the same aspect too, I did go ahead and do this, and I think it's the right thing to do. Just to help out everybody who comes into this building. Anything else on the town hall advisory? Okay. Recreation Committee, Vivian's not here.
Nope.
Warrant article recommendations. We have Wendy Wing and Wayne Dugas and Kerry and I guess some of the people in the neighborhood under other business. Do we want to do this other business first before we do warrants?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay. So I know that Kerry and Wayne sent us a letter. You guys want to read that?
Concerned with the conditions and health environment, way.
And the violations of covenants recorded at volume 204 of the establishment of the Hudson registry deed. And I know the board on one off houses, and the board was focused on the time of 2009. When I first started to go out of the board already, that is the covenant we use, and it's given the board's responsibility to call it management issue. So I just want to throw that in there. The covenants are really, it's in for those times. And then it's like that. She was contacted via letter in December 2021 to let her know of our concerns and one of her buttons on budget being created by the poultry farm and her residents. The abutting homeowner did not receive a response. In short, 2009, she was contacted by a private hospital and a firm non-tax quality bill with request to cease and desist the fowl and equine activities on her property. Their letter indicated that she overloaded the lot for its size under applicable best management practices for agricultural operations, and that the overload of the lot raises health issues with respect to the manner in which you handle animal waste and constitutes a health hazard to abiding property owners. A copy of this letter, the letter, the public works letter. Over the last few years, Ms. Wing has expanded her poultry farm, and based on the sounds being broadcast from her property, it appears to include countless chickens, multiple roosters, multiple geese, multiple guinea hens, ducks, goats, as well as other critters. Generally constant noise and the odor and the squadrons of animal flies in the warm weather and a rat population are making it difficult for letting neighbors to enjoy being outside in their yards. And frankly, many of us are reluctant to invite friends and family to visit and sit outside in warm weather. We also hear crescendo of a foul noises while in our home. There's also several floodlights in her backyard that are on throughout the entire night, as well as multiple game cameras, presumably to keep her eye on 100 yards of boxes and others. These game cameras were pointed at our home, right at our front door, all the way up. The most applicable parts of the restrictive covenants imposed on local law on Miranda Road in Flanders Lane by Ironic Properties by declaration dated August 17, 1984, and reported at volume 3204, page 719 of the Hillsborough County Registry of Deeds are paragraphs 1 and 6. The property described under Exhibit A shall be used for single-family residences, home, professional, educational, agricultural, and craft pursuits with 3 or less outside employees and other home occupations with no outside employees. All retail activities and the raising of farm animals for commercial purposes shall be prohibited. For purposes of the declaration, the agricultural pursuits shall not include the raising of farm animals for commercial purposes. Paragraph 6 states the following: no noxious or offensive activity shall be carried on upon said lot, nor shall anything be done thereon which may be or may become an annoyance or a nuisance to neighbors. The restrictions imposed on the Supreme's property and most properties on Miranda Road and Flanders Lane were part of the subdivision of the County Temple by Ironic Properties, and frankly, is one of the many reasons why many of us chose to live on Miranda Road and in the County Temple. One of the neighbors said he saw the practice covenant as a way to protect the setting of their home and their lifestyle, one peace and respect for the environment. Clearly, Mrs. Wing's Bolton Farm is a violation of these provisions and is crafting a hardship for her butters. So our greatest concern is that the really constant noise and smell emanating from the property and the potential health implications contributed to the property's stock the capacity, carrying capacity. The condition she is promoting would also make their fair sale of the land property particularly challenging. Review of the zoning regulations governing home businesses in town, Mrs. Wing's Bolton Farm is clearly in violation of many of the regulations. Accordingly, we are requesting a reduction in the recent assessment of our property value. The hardship perpetrated by this Bolton Farm on a small 3-acre wooded lot is in direct violation of both restricted covenants on the property, in addition to countless violations set forth by the zoning regulations established for the operation of the home business, grill and elderly, have an impact on our real estate values to the future selling. If improvements to your property equal or increase in value. Then, violations of covenants and zoning regulations by neighbors resulting in hardship for neighbors equal and increase in value. So what do you think? Many of us on Miranda are very familiar with the sound and smell of living. Several neighbors have been in conflict for 35 to 40 years, and so that road is affordably small. Feel pretty good and fair sense what we can appropriate in rural community life. In this case, Ms. Wayne is not being fair, and she is in violation of a few of the restrictions that we have always made or in other neighborhood life in even there. Frustrated and disgusted, the plan has been submitted by neighbors residing on Miranda Road, supporting information including video and sound can be furnished upon request. And I've also submitted, signatures showing the neighbors that all need it.
Okay, just to be fair to Wendy, this issue came up after the letter was sent for the zoning violation that we have for dark sky ordinance. Okay, so we will address this after the fact. We address, I think that if you guys agree, I'd like to send this letter to the lawyer and see what our options are here.
Sure.
But at this point, I want to save that for the lawyers and let Wendy have a say in her violation letter. And I think you guys, we all have a copy of that letter.
Yeah, did you get a copy of the violation letter that was sent to her?
No,
No.
we have the copy.
We have started legal action. A violation letter was sent to her on the 14th. If she doesn't comply, the fines are $275 a day starting from the 14th. Yeah. So that one has already gone out. I've got a couple of questions. So the covenant restrictions, were they part of the original ZBA and planning board approval of the subdivision, or were those separate from that? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, they would have had to approve it as a subdivision. Okay, so if those restrictions are in the zoning approval, then it is a zoning violation. Okay. Which is different from what my understanding was. I thought these were covenants among just the homeowners.
So again, to clarify that letter, I think we should need to
Yeah.
send that to
Yeah, we're
the
gonna,
ZBA and then just concentrate tonight on
right,
the letter that we sent Wendy.
the
Wendy, you
dark
want
sky one.
to grab a microphone?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we're going to share it with the people online. We probably should not do that
Yeah. 'cause
since
if
they
we-
can't see it.
If we can't share it, then we
Right.
shouldn't be. What you can do is if you put it on a thumb drive and give it to Carol, she can put it in. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Hold on.
Hello. This is in response to the zoning letter that you sent me. Let's see. So I'll briefly state what the zoning letter says. You're presently using your property at the above address, mine in violation of the lighting and dark sky protection. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. Because you have lighting that does not conform to requirements of the ordinance, said lighting is illuminated, intruding on neighboring properties. You go on to tell me you can come look at it and tell me how to fix it. And should I not comply, should I continue to violate the law, then you'll seek penalties and a lawyer.
Okay, so I did talk, she did come into the office and I happened to be at the firehouse and I did talk to her about this. So at that time, she had left after I said, well, we're going to do it at this meeting, and that Carol would call her and let her know. And then she had called Carol and asked for a non-public, which we said, no, we couldn't do it under non-public because there's only like 5 things you can do it under non-public for. But then she said she wasn't sure that she wanted anybody onto her property, and I had already asked her at that point before that if we could send somebody out there to check out and make sure that we do have a violation. And then she mentioned to Carol that she wasn't sure she wanted anybody to come out onto her property.
I'm going to respond to that.
So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I will respond out in a second. It's part of so my children and I have lived at our home for 25 plus years. I'm the only owner. It was built in 2000. The barn on the property is also about 20 plus years old. It was built after the house. Both structures have had the lighting on them since they were built. I'm not in violation of the sky protection ordinance. I have some questions before I have a statement. These are things that, so my first question is, on what day did my neighbor make the complaint?
Well, January 14th, we sent you the letter, so it was a week before that. Actually, it was a couple weeks before that. When was the meeting? So it was 13th meeting that we decided to send a letter. So I believe it was either the 8th or the 9th that it was brought to my attention.
8th or 9th. Let's see. 8th or 9th. Was it verbal or written?
It was verbal, but they have since.
How was it verbal? Called in, or was it in person?
It was called in.
Okay. Do you have a record of that conversation?
No, we
written
don't.
down? Okay.
We don't record our phone calls.
No, I mean like maybe wrote down what you discussed.
No.
Okay. So no. I was gonna say which neighbor made the complaint, but I think we know who that is now. Who received the complaint? Who's the one that had?
I received the complaint.
So Ken. Okay. And do you know the complaints professionally?
I've worked with Wayne before, and I know his wife.
Okay.
I don't hang around with them. I mean, we're not best buddies or anything.
Okay. Which light? So you said that I'm trespassing, light trespass. So which light are you referring to? Which structure and which light?
I was told the barn lights.
Okay. And there's a front and a back light. So which one is it?
I wasn't clear at that point. I was told the barn lights.
Okay. Did the complainant provide any evidence or proof of the complaint?
No, other than their word, but that's why we have to investigate those things.
Let's see. Was the complaint posted for discussion on the 113 select board meeting agenda?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
I believe it was under other business because the agenda had already been printed.
So here's the 113 I printed off the website. Is it on there?
It would be under.
No,
other
it's not
business.
on there. It was put on under other business.
Okay, so I wouldn't have known about this. Was I invited to the public meeting to discuss it? The complaint.
We don't generally, it's not how things work. We get a complaint. We usually make sure that the complaint is viable, and then we go ahead and act on the complaint. It was a simple zoning violation. It was a simple letter format that's sent out. It's not the first time we've had this.
I'll reply to that. Did any of you reach out to me about the complaint to discuss?
No, I had no way of having your phone number or reaching out to you other than.
Okay. Let's see. Did any of you observe the violation?
No, that's why when me and you had talked, I said that we could send the building inspector out there to make sure it was a viable complaint.
Okay, well, how did you come to the decision that I was in violation of the ordinance? Because that's what the letter says, that I'm in violation of the ordinance.
And that's because of the complaint.
So the complaint determined it, not yours. Okay.
Yeah, and I wish you'd get to where you're getting at because I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm going to summarize. So the neighbor
If
verbally
we're going to
complained.
stop this, we can go right to the lawyers and you can talk to the
I'm
lawyers.
talking, you let everyone else speak.
And that's fine. I just wish
Okay.
you'd get to the.
I am going to. So summarize, this neighbor complained to you and didn't provide any evidence or proof of his complaint. All of you discussed the complaint at a public meeting without informing me of the complaint, nor giving me the opportunity to respond. None of you, the select board, have observed the violation, but all of you determined that I was in violation of this said ordinance and sent me a letter telling me if I did not comply, I would be fined and sued. So is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, first thing I would like to say is, so the light trespass, I'm going to read the definition from the ordinance. Apologize, I have a lot of paperwork here. All right, so the light trespass, I put it. All right, so the light trespass ordinance says, the definition is the shining of a light produced by a luminaire bound beyond the boundaries of the property on which it is located. So in other words, the light comes shining down goes on the ground over the property line. So they're complaining that one or both of my lights, I haven't determined that yet, is going over the property line onto their property. So I have a couple of pictures here. They're on video. The videos are better, but I can show you the pictures. Unfortunately, the printout's not as great. First, I want to give I'm going to hold them up real quick. So this is the front of my property. There's a fence right here at the street. And I just want to make sure, this is my neighbor across the street. You can actually see me standing here at that pile of snow. Is that light trespassing? I can see his light across the street.
If they're shining onto your property, then yes.
Okay. So it doesn't look like it. I can just see it, but it's not on my property. This is the picture of the side of my house. That's the front of the barn. There's a light here. There's a light on the back. That is a shed that we use sometimes as a coop. This is the neighbor house. Their house is right here. Unfortunately, this picture is not going to be good. I wanted to show you on my computer, but I will send it to you. If you look closely, there's the shed. This is their house. And do you see all this right here? That is light from their garage, well beyond the property line. So while I'm not here to argue about their light, you can see from that, with the lights off on my barn, that are not on all the time, by the way, they're on timers, there's no light going over to the property. But you did suggest coming and taking a look. You don't need to be on my property to see it. You need to be on their property to see it. So if you want to arrange to be on their property, you arrange with them. I gave you my phone number. I can make sure the lights are on because, like I said, at night they go off. They're on timers. I will turn all the lights on and then you can view if my lights are on his property, which is what this violation is saying. You don't need to be on my property. That's why I'm saying that.
Well, we like to see where the source is and where it's going.
Okay, but you
So-
have to see it.
And
on
and
their-
that's fine. We can do it from one side.
Okay.
That's fine.
But since we're going to bring this up, I would also recommend that you take a look at their light that I just showed you in that picture, and I'll shut all my lights off and you can see if he is also violating this same ordinance.
Well, it also depends on the brightness of the lights. It's a very technical,
I know,
Restriction.
it is.
depends on the brightness of the lights, which we won't know because we can't observe your lights. We can probably find out theirs. And there generally is a requirement that they be full cutoff fixtures regardless. And are yours or not? We don't know.
Okay. Is there a time limit that outside lights have to be on? The only ordinance says is after 11 have dimmers, timers.
Nope.
Okay. Both those lights are on timers and then dimmers as well. And they shut off, they're motion detected. Let's see. Sorry. So, I just want to follow up that, first, speak about what they just talked about in a minute. So, according to you, the complaint was filed on 1/8 or 1/9. 1/13, you had to discuss the meeting. 1/14, you sent me the violation letter was created. 1/16, it was postmarked. 1/17 was the earliest I could have gotten it. 1/22 is when I actually got it. And then 1/23 is when I spoke with you in the office. Just to let you know why this is a situation is, again, the complaint was on 1/8. I have video that on 1/8, Karen over here was pointing a flashlight at my property.
Her name is Carrie.
I'm sorry, Carrie. Carrie was flashing her flashlight at my property.
Okay.
Higher than her on a second floor.
Flashlights have nothing to do with the zoning ordinance.
I'm telling you, this is a revenge.
And I'm telling you that flashlights have nothing to do with the zoning ordinance.
Okay, but this is harassment. And on 1/9, I yelled at her. I yelled at her through the window to stop doing this. And then voila, here we are with a violation for lights that have been up for 20+ years. So that's what I would like on the record. I have plenty of evidence going back to 2019 of her doing this. Thousands of videos. So I just would like on the record that this is just being petty because I called her out for bad behavior.
That has nothing to do with.
I agree, it doesn't, but it is motive.
Okay, so this will be addressed by the lawyers. She's got the notice. She can fix or aim the lights in a different direction. And anybody else want to say anything else? There's a whole crowd of yous over there.
I'm not the only one in the area with animals, so I'm not sure why I'm being singled out. Right across the street from them, they have animals. Farm down the road has animals. There's horses that further down the road. So there's plenty of people in the area with animals. So I'm not sure why I'm singled out.
Again, this is something that we're going to send to the lawyer for the covenants of the neighborhood. And we don't have a statement on that as far as till we hear from the lawyers. Anybody else on this matter? Yeah, warrant article recommendations. So if you all want to leave, now's the time to do it because this stuff is boring. You can go out the front door. Yep.
All right, where are got the list of these things here? Somewhere.
Yes, she gave us a list. Good, you got the list for the warrants?
Who was that?
Wendy Wynn
Yeah, here they are. Yeah.
from 174 Moran Road.
I remember her from years ago. I took care of her horses. And she had us down by the farm pasture.
Yeah,
My brother had water out there. And Barbara Howley would get water for that horse too.
well, I guess she's got quite the noisy farm going on over there.
He does.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you do about these? You got a bunch of people saying there's a problem. You have one person saying, "Mm."
Yeah,
Sandra,
Right.
yeah.
Ah.
I agree.
All right, so first one is town hall mitigation. We made this number one because we thought it was going to be a huge topic. And again, didn't mean to step on any toes, but here we are. Do the select board want to recommend to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $12,000 for installation of echo mitigation materials in the town hall? I vote yes.
Yes,
I vote no.
So 2-1.
2-1. Think the town should be able to discuss it.
Asphalt paving and expendable trust, it's the same 100,000 that we do since 2010 to put in that account. So we have, money to pave the roads.
Yep.
We all set with that one?
Yep.
Yes, for me.
Yep.
George?
Yes.
Okay, select board recommends.
Same thing with the bridge reserve fund.
Yeah, the bridge reserve funds, we're hoping to have enough money in 2027 to build this bridge. And I don't know if you guys have taken a chance to go over to Powers Road, the new, well, I didn't see that on here yet, but
What?
there's a petition warrant article to name it the Marty Connolly Bridge.
Okay. I knew that would come.
So, bridge capital fund for $120,000,
Yes.
same at town meeting 2007. Yes,
Yes.
yes, so select board recommends. Fire department skid unit's been on the CIP list for quite a while now. To see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate $27,825 to replace the existing skid unit for the Temple Volunteer Fire Department.
Aye.
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 Select board recommends. Highway Fire Vehicle and Equipment Maintenance Repair and Expendable Trust, same one we started 2 years ago, and we're just adding $10,000 to it. Aye.
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 So select board recommends. Create a recreational facility expendable trust fund to see if the town will vote and create a capital reserve expendable trust fund for the purpose of maintaining the town recreational facilities to be funded with $24,000 that was voted at town meeting in 2025. That was the $24,000 from the tennis courts. Previously held in encumbered amount in the town's reserve fund balance, and to raise and appropriate another $10,000 to be added to that fund for 2026. So we can figure out what we're doing, and the select board is designated as agents to expend this fund. Aye from me,
Aye.
Aye.
so recommend. New police cruiser to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000, which is 40% our portion of the net cost, for the purpose of purchasing a new cruiser for the Temple Greenville Police Department, and registered in the name of the town of Greenville. This article is contingent upon passing a similar warrant article by the town of Greenville for the remaining amount of the cruiser cost.
Aye.
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 Recommends. Non-CIP warrant articles, to see if the town will vote to rename the Scaldani property lot 7-36 to the Village Forest, and to give the Conservation Commission management responsibilities for the 65-acre parcel. Majority vote required.
Nay.
Nay,
Nay.
nay. Create a new temple facilities maintenance, repair, and construction expendable trust fund to see if the town will vote to establish a temple facilities maintenance, repair, and construction expendable trust fund pursuant to RSA 31:19-A for the purpose of preservation, improvement, and structural viability of temple-owned buildings and facilities. Money will be added to the fund as appropriate, available at the discretion of the select board or through future warrant articles. The select board is named as agent to expend from said fund.
Aye.
Aye for me.
Aye.
This one may change a bit because the DRA has questions and they want me to wait for legal.
Okay.
Right. Well, we may have some little changes in some of these, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's a wording is not, the purpose is not going to change, I don't think. I hope not. Responsibly log the Scaldani property to see if the town of Temple will vote to responsibly log the Scaldani property and place any net funds resulting in said logging into the Temple Facilities Maintenance and Repair and Construction Expendable Trust Fund. Logging will be performed in association with the state forester to ensure that the final result is a healthy forest.
Aye.
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 CAC warrant, the town of Temple has the opportunity to apply for Monadnock Alliance for Sustainable Transportation Grant to help make the center of town safer for drivers, pedestrians with disabilities, bikers, horseback riders. Basically, this article puts entering town village signs on Route 45, General Miller and West Road as you come into the village. And that's the first part of it. And the second part of it is to paint a white edging lines, fog lines on West Road for increased visibility. The lines would be narrowed at the appropriate distance as the approach to Route 45 as a means of slowing down traffic. This work will be subject to receiving the Mass grant and covered to the cost of $7,658 for both projects.
Aye.
I have a feeling this may be split into two, but right now it's just one, but it may be two separate ones, but.
Okay.
All right, so I'm okay with this.
Me too.
Yeah.
You all right?
All okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I did make the, to find out how we're gonna maintain the white lines on the other side, and they said they would just keep going after the
Grants.
Mass grant.
If they don't, we won't have any more white lines.
Carriage shed construction, to see if the town will vote to proceed with the construction of a carriage shed at the existing highway garage site. Funds will be allocated from the town building construction and renovation capital reserve fund, voted at the town meeting on March 15th, 2025. I'm okay with this.
Yes.
There are some changes and I'll have pictures so that we can see the front, the back of the building,
Okay, so
the
might as well,
roof line,
yeah,
all that stuff for at town meeting.
okay. Might
There's
as well.
3 yes,
What's that?
3 yes.
3 yes, yes. Discontinue Perkins Lane, to see if the town will vote to discontinue Perkins Lane from a class 5 road to a class 4 road.
6.
6.
6.
Oh, 6.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's not gonna make us look any good, but,
No, it'll probably get voted down like they always do.
well, I mean, at the same time, we still have to look out for the liability of the town.
Yep.
Discontinue Holt Lane, to see if the town will discontinue Holt Lane from a class 5 to the class 6 road.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. And I want to add that the property owner is in favor of this. They want it turned into a class
6
6
road.
road.
Okay.
Sure.
Petition,
Jamie.
If it's a driveway, why would it go to a class 6 road? Why wouldn't it just become the homeowner's
Only part
driveway?
of it is private property. So like part of Perkins Lane is a town road,
Okay,
and then it turns into the private part where all the arguments about.
okay,
So right now it is a class 5 town road for like 3/4 of the way up or halfway up, something
yeah,
like
it's
that.
not even that far. It's where you
It-
can see the trees on the side of the road.
so we're still going to be plowing part of those
Still
driveways?
Yes, but they have to give us nope, not part of the driveway, only the town portion of the road, then we turn around and come back out.
Right.
I went to a seminar on this and the legal said that a class 6 road always belongs to the town.
Okay,
Even if somebody builds on it, the road itself stays a town, class 6 town road.
okay. So
Yeah.
part
We
of those
can't
roads
tell 'em.
still are going to be public roads?
Yeah, it's a public road that
Yeah.
we don't have to do anything with. That's what a class 6 road is.
Okay,
We don't have to maintain it.
okay. I have another question about one of the other previous articles. Can I ask? Is that okay?
Yep.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
I believe you said nay on the renaming the Sclenany land, the village forest,
Yep.
and giving the Conservation Commission control of it. Could those be two warrant articles instead of one?
Split any land?
Yeah.
No,
I said no.
it's one.
Yes, you said no, that's correct.
Yeah, we all said no, George. It's to see if the town will vote to rename the Scaldani property lot 7-36 to the village forest and to give the Conservation Commission management responsibilities for the 65-acre parcel.
So that to me is two separate
Yeah, that
issues.
could have been
That's
written
two
as
separate
two.
issues.
We didn't write it.
Right, but that's two separate issues. So if they don't amend that, or if we can't amend that, that's gonna be.
Oh, yeah, it can be amended.
And
Yeah.
I'm okay with the village forest thing. I'm just not okay with the Conservation
Right.
Commission because I don't like what they've done so far to the properties that we have here. And that's the only reason I wouldn't go for that now.
Right, so that would be the proper thing to do. We'll amend it at town meeting because since we didn't write it, we can't change it.
Yeah, we can amend it, but we can't change the intent of it. So
Right.
we can word it otherwise so that it gives it two separate sections. And we can vote on one or the other. Or maybe we can do that with the lawyer. Maybe the lawyer will split them out. We don't know yet.
Nothing's final yet. If somebody wants to rewrite it as two and give it to me, I can give it to legal, put it in the portal, and nothing's final yet.
Well, it wasn't our amendment. I mean, we could split it,
Yeah, it wasn't ours. So
but then CIP
It's
could,
your
I mean,
committee.
not CIP.
I
Yeah,
believe the
Concom.
Concom did, yeah. So if they want to change it, send an email
Okay.
to them and see if they want to make it two separate issues.
Yeah, you might hint that if they don't, it's gonna go down. Both, the whole thing will go down.
Break it into two, and then if so, what your recommendation would be yes on the first and no on the second?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to figure that out now, I'm okay with leaving changing the name to the village forest. I'm just not okay with the conservation part.
Right.
Does
Same.
that work for you, George?
What's that?
On renaming the Scaldani property?
Oh, I said no.
Yes, but if they broke it into two separate ones,
Oh,
are you okay with just naming it the village forest? If we broke this into two separate,
yes, but I have concerns about giving it to the Conservation Commission.
Right. That's why we break it into two parts and we can rename it and,
The Conservation Commission wants all my land.
yeah. You get a big tax write-off.
all right, so if it does get broken into two parts, we will recommend the renaming the village forest,
Right.
but we won't recommend the Conservation Commission part of it.
Right.
And then the last one we have is a petition warrant article, so we don't go on these, but to see if the town shall vote to name the bridge on Powers Road, the Martin T. Connolly Bridge. And they need a majority vote required. But that's petition warrant article, so we
I would probably vote against that.
don't have anything to do with it, because it's a petition
Right.
warrant article, so we don't have, we can't say one way or another.
That was known as the Powers Road Bridge.
Yeah,
I had nothing against Martin.
all right, so that's warrant articles, and all we got left is the minutes from January 13th, 2026.
I have no changes.
I had no changes.
I have no changes.
Motion to accept as written.
Second,
George.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's
Anything
all
else?
set. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to whatever it is, do whatever we do when we leave.
Go
Put out
home.
this place.
Yeah,
Second. Or I'll make it or second it, whichever one's needed.
okay, you made it. George, you want to second it?
what, move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn?
Yes, I will.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Good night.
Does anybody want these nice pictures?